Crypto Pizza Day. Yes, it's a national holiday that we celebrate every single year. Well, it's not a legal holiday yet, but it's a crypto pizza holiday. So someday maybe it'll get legalized into something in Congress. They rubber stamp almost everything that comes through for a holiday. So let's have a Crypto Pizza Day holiday. Well, we'll see. Anyway, May 22nd, 2010, a Bitcoin enthusiast spent $10,000 of Bitcoin on 2 large pizza. You might say he was sinking in a lot of dough. Okay, those pizzas today would be worth around $300 million. Well, since then, May 22nd has been known as Bitcoin Pizza Day, a day to celebrate the first real world Bitcoin's transaction. Yes, yes, it's fabulous. So Laszlo made history. He paid $10,000 Bitcoin for 2 large pizzas, and now it's regarded as the first real world Bitcoin transaction. You know, back then, 10,000 Bitcoins about $40. Today, it's about $300,000. You could probably buy yourself your own pizza chain and have a couple Bitcoin for change. So it's incredible how the world changed. He had posted this on a Bitcoin forum. He says, I'll pay 10,000 Bitcoin for a couple of pizzas, like maybe 2 large ones, with some left over for the next day. You know, like having some leftover pizza to nibble on later, maybe for breakfast. Heat it up at least, Laszlo, before you do that. A few days later, he reported he made the trade. A programmer in the group sat there and bought it for him, and he got the pizzas, and history was made, and we'll celebrate it forever. You know, back in 2010, probably nobody ever imagined Bitcoin would spawn into a trillion-dollar market, a multi-trillion-dollar market, nor did they realize the significance of this fabulous national holiday. Well, not quite national and not quite a holiday, but anyhow, Bitcoin Pizza Day. Now, crypto is used to pay everything from coffee to holidays to luxury watches to a luxury yacht or two. You can even buy a house with your cryptocurrency. It's incredible how we've actually changed and how we're accepting more of this thing that really has proof of work or proof of stake, and people accept it as a currency. Okay, so as long as you take it, that's all that counts. You know, let's recount some of the key moments of crypto history. First of all, this mysterious Satoshi Nakamoto comes out with a paper in October 2008. Nobody to this day knows who Satoshi is. Satoshi could be a him, could be a her, it could be a group. It's probably, though, somebody who's the billionaire that has a couple of their own personal islands, yachts, and is wealthy beyond any recognizable myth. Maybe it's Elon Musk. We don't know. Anyhow, so he releases a white paper and outlines decentralized peer-to-peer electronic payments. Then Nakamoto creates 50 Bitcoin and transfers 10 to Hal Finley. That was really the first transfer, and it happened over the internet. And then finally, you have on May 22nd, when the transaction took place at Papa John's, that became really the first transaction that happened with Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. It started trading. By the end of the year, 1 Bitcoin now is worth 80 cents. By 2011, another coin came out, an altcoin called Litecoin, and now there's over 21,000 cryptocurrencies, over 22,000 cryptocurrencies, but only about 8,000 really work. Regardless, we now have lots of cryptocurrencies of just about every type of variety, 6 different classifications of it. It's pretty incredible. And then we had 2013, Silk Road, kind of a black market platform, and it relied almost exclusively on crypto. The FBI shut it down, and you know what? Good. And I'm glad the people that did it are in jail. What they were doing was inappropriate, inexcusable by many standards. Feel free to go look at the crimes they helped fund on crypto on that Silk Road, and you agree with the same thing, unless you're one of those people. Anyway, so that being said, the 2014 Mt. Gox, the biggest crypto exchange at the time, it's hacked, and the company goes bankrupt. Mt. Gox handled about 70% of all crypto transactions at one point. Huge. When it went down, it almost destroyed the entire market, except for the fact that really people got out of it as quickly as they started seeing problems happening. But eventually, that was really a bad day in cryptocurrency history. December 2014, the first global company, Microsoft, adds Bitcoin as a form of payment. December 2017, it explodes from that 80 cents we just mentioned previously to around $900, and it finishes the year 15,000. Forbes said 2017 would be the year of Bitcoin. Little did they know, just a few years later, it'd be worth $69,000 in 2021. What an incredible change from something worth just a few cents, 80 cents, okay, to $69,000 for one Bitcoin, one piece of digital currency on the internet. Finally, October 2020, PayPal enters the crypto market. Tesla in February announces it'll set Bitcoin payments. It then backtracks that decision, which, along with China's move to ban crypto, caused our first major dip in prices. So with that being said, I appreciate the fact that we jumped forward in the aspect of it, but we had to go backwards. China banned cryptocurrency. That put a dent in the market. Morgan Stanley in March 2021 became the first bank to offer Bitcoin to certain clients. El Salvador, for good or bad, I mean, they reached out and they made Bitcoin a legal tender of the country. It changes a lot for them because of the fact that now the aspect of inflation is a different critter than it was before when they printed their own fiat currency. So it's interesting that they did that, and we're still waiting to see the experiment as to how that happened. January 2022, crypto slides from a market valuation of 3.1 trillion down to 829 billion. It's a huge slide. We lose over 2/3 of the valuation, the market valuation of cryptocurrency. It was a bad moment that everybody felt at some point, especially if you own cryptocurrency at the time, okay, that it was really a real tough time. Anyhow, so May 2023, the market valuation is over $1 trillion again. And, you know, they're saying a lot of different things. April, May of 2024, multiple halvings are going to occur, and you're going to have Litecoin, you're going to have Bitcoin, you're going to have multiple halvings happening right then. And past history shows us that every time you have a halving, that all of a sudden the value of that particular coin jumps. And by jumping, we'll see what happens to the market. Somebody even predicted that Bitcoin's going to hit $100,000 for one coin. It might. So we'll see what happens with that. But wild predictions abound. But of course, well, it's crypto. Everybody makes wild predictions about crypto. So I'll make one too. It's going to survive. We'll see what happens. Material came from over here. Here's my source material. May 22nd, 1 year ago, from the time of this recording, David Bugay, well, that's me, called Papa John's and asked them if he could purchase a piece of cryptocurrency. The nice person at the end of the line fumbles. I'm certain it was a young person who had no idea what he was talking about. They never heard of it ever happening. I tried to explain that once upon a time, Papa John's and cryptocurrency was the very first transaction. And I thought, okay, you need to stop. This poor person thinks you're nuts. Okay, so thank you very much. And I graciously hung up, and I went hungry that night. Oh, well. Take care.